Fourth period. Mr. Almond's best class. Take one.
Alright, so I have 3 different types of lids I'm going to do. I don't need it to be so, I don't need the demo to be so extensive because you guys have a good clay knowledge at this point. So I'm going to kind of show you a little bit, but then I'm going to explain some things too. So it's not going to take forever. Lid flange first. So this is the pot that I made for lid flange. And I might as well just show you, this is what the lid flange is going to look like. Okay. The coil is underneath.
Can't see it.
You see it?
No. Yep, that's good.
The coil is underneath the lid and I joined it in. I did not put it up against the rim. Why not put it all the way out here close to the rim? Why not put it closer to the edge? It won't go down on the pot. And I did put 2 dots the way I want it to sit, the way I traced it and so forth. So there was a dot there and a dot there, so it sits that way every time. Okay, so I'll set this aside. This is like a finished product, and you can put a knob on the other side and so forth. Measure the rim upside down on a slab. So I take my pot, I have a smooth slab here. I'm gonna set it, I'll just set it here, like that. Now, if you want the lid to be exactly the same and sit just on the edge of the rim going all the way around, I would trace it exactly on the rim, okay? But, like mine's square, and if I try to make it perfect, sometimes it doesn't really look that good. So what I do is I do a little bit of an overhang. So if I, let's just say that this is my box. If I'm tracing around it, what I'm tracing is just outside the edge of the rim, and you'll see me do it when I cut it. But I just trace about the same distance around, and so now my flange lid is going to hang over the edge. What that little bit of a shadow does, it covers it up a little bit, and it just separates it visually, and it will, when it's so perfect, sometimes it just doesn't look so right. So I do it with a little bit of an overhang. So I take this. This will be hard for some people to do just a nice similar distance around the rim, but I'm probably going like 1/4 of an inch. It's not going to be perfect, but it looks pretty good. Once it's on there, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if it wasn't completely the same all the way around the rim. So you go like this. I trace it, set it aside. Now, one thing that happens when people cut, I made my line, I'm starting to follow it like this. What happens is people they don't pay attention to the feathering knife, and it starts going this way and this way, and then the edge of your rim starts looking funky sitting on your pot. You'll have like different angles on the edge of your rim, so follow and just try to make your feathering knife go up and down the whole time. I'm going to save this for my lid seat. How many people are doing lid flange? The lid is sitting on the rim. Anybody know? How many people are going to choose after they see the demo? Okay, that's usually what happens. Totally cool with me. So I'm trying to make this go straight up and down the whole time. Now what I would do is I could set it there right now before I do anything, and I could make a mark where it's going to sit, like there and there, like I did on this one, so that when I made a mark. The way that I traced it, I put there and there, so that that's the way it's going to sit back on the pot. If you don't, it might not be very even. Or if you don't make a mark, you'll keep turning it until you think it looks good. All right? So, don't really need this. Before you add the coil, here. All this that you cut, you should take it and smooth it. Now watch how quick and easy I can do this. I soften it, I round it, I go like this. This will make your lid look very nice sitting on your pot. If you don't do this, it's gonna look like you cut it. We want it to look like it's part of the pot. It's just craftsmanship. So I soften that up, it's rounded, turn it over. I think this is the bottom where I'm gonna add the lid flange. Some people might have to shave off a little bit more if they don't like it, but that's why you turned it over to trace it, so that you can get it the size that you want. And that's also another reason why you do a little bit of overhang, because it allows for a little bit of error instead of it being perfect sitting on the rim. All right, so make that smooth, make it nice. This will look a lot better on your pot, okay? So let's say it's upside down. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I think that you guys understand what I would be doing here. You're gonna make a flange coil, and it'll be about the thickness of your finger. So roll it in water. I don't have any water. That's
Right
okay.
there.
Oh, I do? Oh, thanks. You're a good person today. Oh, look at this. Someone needs extra credit. All right, thank you. So I'm just gonna roll it out. I'm not gonna totally join it because I know that you guys know how to do that. I just wanna show you the thickness, and I wanna show you where I'm gonna place it. Because it's very important that you don't place it along the edge, because you'll constantly be trying to push it in. If the coil is touching the edge, you're gonna have to push in a little bit so it's not touching, so that it sits down on the rim. Happens all the time. People try to make it a little bit too perfect. We just want we want this flange to just keep it from sliding off, but see, I do have play in it. That's okay. I'm gonna give you an option here too on how to join it. I'm good. I'm not gonna keep this one. I'm gonna keep that one for the example all day long. I'll just keep this. I would say index finger, like that. That's about what we want. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take it and you're gonna put it in a couple inches. I think that's what it says on the notes. You don't even have to make it a square. I don't know how many people are gonna have square pots anyways, but I could just sit there and put this in the middle and do a circle if I want to. It doesn't have to completely mimic what the lid looks like. So I could set it like that, put it kind of in the middle if I want. So just placement like that. All right, now that would be joined in. I would score and slip under the coil and I would hit it down. So you can see there's a lot of play between the flange and the rim of the pot. So I'd score and slip, hit it down. What I did for this is I joined it. Just like a coil pot, I dragged this down all the way around, I dragged the inside, I blended it, I smoothed it in. It is an option for you to score and slip and hit this down and then take a brush, a watery slip brush, and wipe under here to just join it a little bit, and then you leave it kind of unjoined. Make sense? Okay? And the other thing that is gonna happen with people, I'm just gonna take this off. If you put this right on your pot right away, it won't stick so much, but it will start slumping. See, mine's kind of big and wide, so it might start slumping. So what I do is after, and I did this, I made this first period, I left this just sitting flat, you know, for like 2 or 3 periods, and it firmed up. So then, you know, you would just kind of, you would bag it up and not spray it down, so that it firms up, and then you could turn it over and it's gonna be flush. It is possible, if you want to give it a little bit of hump, you can push it down like this while it's upside down, and then the top part will be a little bit of a hump. I'm going to show you that with the lid C. questions on this. Join it if you want, blend it in. It's good craftsmanship. Looks like that. If you're gonna blend it in 100%. Don't just blend it kind of in and then you still see where it's joined and so forth. All right, so where's my dot? I made this on the wheel. Anybody know how I made a square pot on the wheel? Anybody know how I made a square pot on the wheel?
Use the square wheel.
I used a square wheel. That'd be cool. It would defy centuries of wisdom. Yes? What? I didn't paddle it because my base is the way that it's kind of square too. Anybody know how I did it?
He squared it.
I squared it after?
Cut it.
What I did is I threw the cylinder without a base. I went all the way to the bottom of the wheel head and I opened it up, no base. I pulled it up and then I let it firm up and then I put it into a square shape because it had no base and then I set it on a slab. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good for you. All right, so here we go, lid seat. This is my lid seat. This is what I'm gonna show you. Or that's not the seat, that's the actual lid. Okay?
Did you do that on the wheel too?
I did that on the wheel too. So, just to reiterate, add coil under your lid, 2 inches inside, blend it smooth. When you're making your lid, just go through. If you're doing this one, you only have these few notes to remember. It will help you, because I'm not gonna be here. Blend and smooth it, let it firm up, and adjust it if you need. If the flange is too wide, push it in, and then plop it down again. Let's see, add the coil an inch down inside the rim. So the first thing you're gonna do, you have a pot. This needs to be completely finished. The base, smooth, the rim, everything done. If you wanna do your carving or negative space or additive texture on the pot after you do the lid, totally fine. I have someone who is doing a pattern and design and it's going up into the lid. So it will be completely done with the lid and then he'll start mapping out his pattern going up into the lid. All right, so here's my lid seat. I left part of it exposed so you can see that it was a coil. It was probably about my index finger, so you can see where it was, you know, not joined. I'll get close, sir. So that way you can see that it was a coil, and I blended it in.
There you go.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Turn.
Thank you, videographer.
You're welcome.
So, show you guys.
Mr. Allman, I like your shoes.
Thank you.
You're stylish today.
I know.
Couldn't you
First time ever.
Yes.
Couldn't you do the same thing on the wheel?
Yes, you can. If people are making this on the wheel, if you made a thick rim on the wheel as it's spinning, you could push your finger down and split it. I have had students do that before. So I added my coil down inside, I would say about this much, down inside the pot. We want this lid sitting down in it, but we don't want it sitting so far down in it that we don't even see it. So I would just say about a finger thickness down inside there. I scored and slipped and put the coil around there. The most difficult part of doing this, the lid seat, which it is the most difficult one, taking your finger under here and joining underneath. It's not like it's like impossible, it's just the most difficult part. And that's the thing that people don't do sometimes. They don't drag the clay under here, it's not joined. They do drag it here, you can see where it's almost totally blended where I can't see that I added a coil. But then under here they don't, and then when it dries, the clay shrinks, separates away from the rim of the pot, and then it has a crack going through the lid seat. Yes?
If you put a coil in before you put the base on.
If you guys could come up with anything that helps you, he's saying put a little baby coil under inside there that maybe it would rest on, and then you could blend it up in there. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that before you put the base on the pot, blend the bottom of the coil for the seat.
Well, you could totally do that, but it's like doing one thing instead of the other. I mean, people can try whatever they want. I mean, it's an option. So he's saying that before you add the base, you put the coil on in there and you could turn it upside down and blend in the coil. This isn't that difficult to do. So, I mean, you guys use your own People will figure out different ways of doing stuff than what I've taught them. So that's okay. So I blended it in, I finished it off, A-okay. What you're gonna do for your lid is you're gonna take a piece, and it says it in the notes, that's just a little bit bigger than the rim of your pot. Place a slab that's wider than the rim of your pot. Press into the rim to leave a mark. People are always like, how am I gonna figure out how to make something that fits just in there? Well, how you do it is you take your slab like this and make sure you smooth it, and you just press it into the rim of the pot. So I can feel the rim right there, so I'm really pressing it to get a mark. And when I take it off, you know, I have a mark. All right? Where am I gonna cut? Am I gonna cut exactly where the line is? Am I gonna cut outside the line? Or am I gonna cut inside the line?
Inside.
Inside, why?
Because it's gonna sit on.
The rim is right here.
Yeah.
If I cut inside, it will sit down on the lid seat. Okay? If I try to do this perfect, it's gonna sit on top of the rim and not on the seat. We want to just slide down in there. So what I do is I take it and I cut it inside the rim. So this is another thing. I watch so many people working on coil pots, and they don't even use a banding wheel. So just inside my mark, and this takes a little bit of a steady hand and maybe a little bit of confidence. I don't think I have a steady hand, but I definitely have confidence in clay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Having a hard time seeing my mark from the shadows. And using the banding wheel makes it so much easier to just sit there and slightly turn. All right, look at that. Bam.
Damn.
Yeah, that's just the way I do it.
I'm not gonna hype you up. That makes sense.
So anyways,
Need it.
right here, what do I do?
Smooth.
Take your finger, soften the edge. I have a little sponge here. I could take the sponge and just wipe over the edge a little bit like that. But then I still smooth it, because what does the sponge do to the clay?
It makes the sand come up.
Makes the sand come up. That could
Oh, I said use the
yeah, it does. It makes it wet. So,
It kind of does.
of course it does. So then I do the bottom. This lid is gonna look so much better sitting on the pot than a lid that looks like you just hacked it up and put it on there. All right? So, to check this,
Oh.
to check this, what would happen if I just put this here and then just plop this down to check it?
You can't get it out.
I can't get it out. And people will do that, and then they're gonna use their feathering knife and start, you know, scraping it out and so forth. So what do I do?
You press it.
You just say anything that comes to mind. You buy it. You eat it. You
You use newspaper.
use newspaper, and you just kind of lay it down and see if it plops down in there. This one's pretty tight.
It is. You need to cut it more.
I'm gonna leave it like this, because then it'd be boring to watch me cut more. Okay, you could agree with that. All right, so you would do this like that. You could take it off, make your knob. If you have a certain negative space, you could use that negative space for the knob. If you have handles that are coming off the pot that look a certain way, you could use that handle. Let's just not go with the ball. The ball is kind of weak. The only other thing I'll tell you is that for this one, I made it kind of domed. One way to do it is to put it down in here and press it, but all I did was I just kind of worked it by hand. After I had it, I just kind of went like this. It will make it a little bit shorter, sitting, like, you know how you said it was perfect and I need to be cut? Doming it like this
Yeah.
will make it a little bit shorter. So, and if it's really, really wet, somewhat, you guys have to let these firm up, these lids. Because if I put that lid on there now, it's too wet, it might stick, it might slump. So I would smooth all this out, I would add my knob. Okay, and then I could set this back in here. And from that point on, I would just, you know, bag it up, keep it wet. Finish it off, do my texture, whatever. Okay? Questions about lid seat? How many people think they're doing lid seat? Now, the one thing I need to say, and I didn't tell this the first period, if your pot ends, let's say that your pot looks like this, you cannot do lid seat for this. We cannot put a coil down in here and then get the lid to sit down in there. What you'd have to do is come up a little bit like this, and then you would put your lid seat down in there like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you, one person.
Yes.
All right, lastly, I'm not gonna have to show you, and also please put your scraps in the bag
You have
and
to
spray it down.
Seriously, dude.
Yeah,
You
you
didn't even
get
do
sponsors
it.
from the
I just used a rib, All right, so here's my 45-degree angle pot. It was totally closed in. Some people are doing a cylinder. Hey, what are you doing? Some people are doing a cylinder and closing it off. A box, closing it off. It's for a form that's totally closed. I did this on the wheel, and I just did a weird form, and I started making the clay go inward, and that gave me a little knob like that. So what you would do, and there's not a lot for 45-degree angle, you enclose the form, you smooth it out, make it finish, make it nice. You could probably get away with doing your negative space before you cut it, as long as you keep your pot leather hard to be able to cut. Mark your line where you want. So for this pot here, it kind of goes like this, and then goes up and in, and like this.
That's amazing.
It's good enough.
It is.
So I chose to go across like this, but I could make a line like that and cut it off like that. I would not recommend going like this. Okay? I would not do that.
That's horrible.
Thank you for your support. Okay, so what I did is I marked it. I marked a line that I wanted, and then I come in with the fettling knife, and all I do is cut it like this.
At a 45-degree
45-degree angle. So once you start and you start going around, I would use the banding wheel, and I would focus on this as you're focusing on your line, because often people will be going like this, and then they start going like this, and they just cut it off. I've watched people after, it's called a 45-degree angle lid, I've watched people just come up and just cut it off like this. Now the lid just goes like this, and it never really sits. The 45 creates an angle inside for this perfect opposite angle to sit. Okay, and I did make 2 little dot marks before I cut it, directly on top of each other, so that after I cut it and smooth it, after I cut it and smooth it, I can place it exactly where it needs to be every time. Dots. The only other advice I'll give you when you're cutting it, once you put this in there, don't cut it like a steak. Every time you go in and out, it leaves a line, and you'll be smoothing that in. After you go all the way around and this thing comes off, you take a sponge. It will be a little bit sharp. Wipe it, round it off, make it look nice. Take the sponge, wipe this off, make this rounded and nice. Try not to mess up the angle in which you cut. And when you smooth and round it off, you'll have a nice little shadow line that separates the lid from the bottom. Okay? Questions?
No.
Questions?
No.
Sure? Okay, that's good. Make sure you have that for your notebook grade.